Hi everybody, Johnny here. Hope you're doing great today. You can find more good math at jmathpage.com. There's lots for you there. Today we're looking at multiplying 4's, and we're going to be using the area model. What does that mean? Well, we'll get to that in a moment. Let's look at what we already know about. You've probably seen these before. 1 times 4, 2 times 4, 3 times 4, 4 times 4, 5 times 4, 6 times 4, 7 times 4, 8 times 4, and 9 times 4. What do these look like in terms of an area model? Let's think about this for a moment with 1 times 4. In 1 times 4, an area model is asking you to imagine a rectangle that is 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 in size, and how many squares it takes up. So let's look at that now. 1 times 4 is the same as thinking in terms of 1 by 4 in a rectangle. Well, I think we should build one. Let's go ahead and build a 1 by 4 rectangle. So if I make one side a measure of 1, I have to make the other side a measure of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this side has a measure of 4. Okay, so far so good, but I think I could use a rectangle to help me see it better. Let's go ahead and draw the rectangle. This side here would have a measure of 1. This would have a measure of 4. This would have a measure of 1. And this would have a measure of 4. Now I have a rectangle here, a 1 by 4 rectangle. 1 by 4. How many squares are in the inside? That's the area in the area model. So let's count the squares. First, let's mark them off. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 squares inside. So the area of a 1 by 4 rectangle, 1 by 4, is 4 squares. This helps us think about the multiplication too. 1 times 4 equals 4. Alright, that worked out well for 1 by 4. What about 2 times 4? 2 times 4 we can think of as 2 by 4. Okay, let's make a picture of this, okay? 2 by 4. Let's go ahead and measure it out. So here's 1, and here's 2. Now we have to measure out 4 as well because it's 2 by 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's good so far. Let's make it into a rectangle so we can see how many squares there might be. This side should have a measure of 2. Down here across the bottom, 4. This side 2. And this side should have a measure of 4 as well. So we have a measure. We're measuring 2 by 4, so 2 on this side and 4 across the top. Okay, so far so good, but how many squares are there? Let's mark off the space inside. So let's mark it off this way. I'm marking off the columns first. Do you see 1, 2, 3, 4 columns? How many rows are there? I count 1, 2 rows. So 2 rows and 4 columns. So how many squares does that make? Well, we can count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4 in that row. 5, 6, 7, 8 altogether. So I have 4 and 4 more make 8. That tells me that in a rectangle that's 2 by 4, 2 by 4, there are 8 squares altogether. So 8 squares. That also tells me that 2 times 4 equals 8. All right? Let's look at 3 times 4. 3 times 4 can be thought of in terms of a rectangle that would be 3 by 4. Let's draw it out. So we need a measure over here of 3, so we have 1, 2, 3. And across the top, the length, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 across here. All right, what does that look like in terms of a rectangle? Well, let's draw it out. This side has a measure of 3, the base a measure of 4, this side a measure of 3, and the top a measure of 4. How many squares are in here? Let's break it down. We have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. How many rows? 1, 2, and 3. That's good. But how many squares are there now? Well, we know that this first row has to have 4. And we know that 2 rows together makes 8. So let's add the last row to our 8. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 altogether. So that tells us that a rectangle that is 3 by 4, a 3 by 4 rectangle, has an area of 12 squares. That's how many squares fit inside. 12 squares. That also tells us that 3 times 4 equals 12. All right? What about 4 times 4? Let's think of that in terms of 4 by 4. Let's draw it out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 over here. Across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top. So we have 4 on one side, 4 on another, 4 by 4. What does this look like in terms of a rectangle? Let's build it. This side has a length of 4. This has a length of 4. This has a length of 4. And this has a length of 4. So it's 4 by 4. Now this, as you might notice, is a square. It's a square that is 4 by 4 in measure, a rectangle and a square at the same time. So let's find out how many squares are in the inside. So let's draw out our columns first. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And rows, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 rows altogether. How many squares? Well, this first row has 4 in it, we know that. And we know that the second row and the first row together give us 8. We also know that 3 rows together give us 12. 3 rows of 4 give us 12. And we want to know about what 4 rows of 4 make. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're not going to get help down there, so we have 12. Let's add on the bottom row. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 altogether. So when we think about a rectangle that is 4 by 4, 4 by 4, the area inside gives us 16 squares. So 16 squares. That also tells us that 4 times 4 equals 16. Okay. 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is the same as 5 by 4 when we're thinking about rectangles. So let's go ahead and build one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a measure of 5 over here. That's one side of a rectangle. Up here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4 across the top. So 5 by 4. Let's build a rectangle to find out how many squares there will be. This side will have a measure of 5, the base a measure of 4, this side a measure of 5, and the top across a measure of 4. Now we have our rectangle, a 5 by 4 rectangle. What about the number of squares inside? Let's mark it off. 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. How many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 rows, 4 columns. How many squares? Well, we know this first row should have 4 squares in it. The first 2 rows together, 4, now 8. 3 rows of 4 give us 12. Fourth row, the fourth row of 4 gives us 16. Now we have to add on the bottom row. So 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. This tells us that a 5 by 4 rectangle has 20 squares that fill it. It has an area of 20 squares. Let's write that down. 20 squares. This also tells us that 5 times 4 equals 20. All right? What about 6 times 4? 6 times 4 is the same as looking for a rectangle that is 6 by 4. Let's go ahead and build that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 on this side. On the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 across the top. Let's build a rectangle for this. This side will be 6 in measure. The base will be 4 in measure. This side will be 6 in measure. And this side will be 4 in measure. Okay, what about the columns? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 rows and 4 columns. All right. How many squares? Well, this first row must have 4 in it, yes? And the first 2 rows must make 8. The 3 rows will make 12. 4 rows will make 16. 5 rows will make 24. No, 5 rows will make 20. Okay, so now we need to add to 20 one more row. So 20 and 4 more. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 24 altogether. So a rectangle that is 6 by 4 has 24 squares in it. 6 by 4 makes 24. So we can write that down. 24 squares. That also tells us that 6 times 4 equals 24. All right? What about 7 times 4? Well, we can think of that as 7 by 4. Let's build our rectangle of 7 by 4. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So on this side we have 7. Across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's build a rectangle with these dimensions, a 7 by 4 rectangle. This side will have a measure of 7. Across the base, 4. This side, 7. Across the top, 4. Make our columns now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now our rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 rows. So 7 rows, 4 columns. We have a 7 by 4 rectangle. How many squares are in here? Well, we know from before that the first row will give us 4. 2 rows will give us 8. 3 rows will give us 12. 4 rows of 4 will give us 16. 5 rows of 4 will give us 20. 6 rows of 4 will give us 24. Now we have to add on the last row here, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we know that a rectangle that is 7 on one side by 4 on another side, 7 by 4, will give us 28 squares in area. There are 28 squares in here. So we'll write that down, 28 squares. That also tells us that 7 times 4 equals 28. All right. 8 times 4. 8 times 4 in a rectangle would be 8 by 4. Let's draw that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 on this side. Across this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 across here. So we have 8 by 4. What if this is a rectangle? If we make it a rectangle, then we can start seeing how many squares there are, right? On this side of the rectangle, this should have a measure of 8. This should have a measure of 4. This should have a measure of 8. And this should have a measure of 4. Let's make our columns and rows again. 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, and 4 columns. The number of rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 rows and 4 columns. How many squares do we make? Well, we know the first row will make 4. 2 rows of 4 make 8. 3 rows of 4 make 12. The 4th row will be 16. The 5th row will be 20. The 6th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24. The 7th row will have to be 28. Now we have to add on that last row, right? 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So that last row takes us to 32. So in a rectangle that is 8 by 4, 8 on one side, 4 on another, this rectangle holds in area 32 squares. 32 squares are in here. Let's write that down. 32 squares. That also tells us that 8 times 4 equals 32. One more. Let's see. 9 times 4. If we're making it a rectangle, we need to make a rectangle that is 9 by 4. Well, let's go ahead and build it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9 by 4. Let's build a rectangle to find the number of squares inside. Okay, so on this side of the rectangle, we have a measure of 9, a measure of 4 on this side, the base of the rectangle. On this side of the rectangle, another measure of 9, and across the top, a measure of 4. All right, now we need to find out how many squares are inside. Let's build our columns. 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, and 4 columns. How many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 9 rows and 4 columns. Okay, but how many squares are there in this rectangle? Well, we know the first row has to be 4. The second row together with the first makes 8. The first 3 rows, 4, 8, 12. The first 4 rows, 4, 8, 12, 16. The first 5 rows, 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. The first 6 rows, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 24. The first 7 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28. And now the 8th one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, takes us to 32. But we need that last row, don't we? So 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. All right, so we know now that a 9 by 4 rectangle, 9 by 4 rectangle holds 36 squares. All right, that also tells us that 9 times 4 equals 36. So this is the area model. Let's go back here and look at 5 times 4. When we think of 5 times 4 in the area model, we're thinking 5 times 4 can be a rectangle that is 5 by 4. 5 by 4. So we make a rectangle that is 5 by 4, and we want to find out how many squares fit inside. When we made a 5 by 4 rectangle, we counted 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 squares inside. So a rectangle that is 5 by 4 in measurement has an area of 20 squares. That also helps us to think about 5 times 4 equaling 20. I hope this was helpful to you.